Hey, this is Chaplain Tony Repic here. Just want to remind you that this podcast does not imply any endorsement of any commercial organization, product, or belief system. Hey, well, welcome to the Bounce Podcast again. This is Chaplain Tony Repic out of Biddle Air National Guard Base. And again, the Bounce Podcast is brought to you to help you in those four areas of soldier or airman comprehensive fitness. We're really concerned about bringing some fresh content for you in the areas of spiritual, mental, physical, and social health. And today I'm really excited about our guest that we have here from Greencastle. A gentleman that has a ton of experience. His name's Jeff Moore. I'm going to let him introduce himself here in a minute, but he's going to talk a little bit today about mentorship, leadership, and also to talk about Greencastle in general. And look, if you're listening to this, you want to tune in, even if you think you're the best mentor in the world or the best leader in the world. Because we get past that portion of it, you want to learn about Greencastle. This company is a military company, and it could be something that, whether you could benefit from, or maybe one of your airmen, family member, a soldier, someone that might be able to benefit from. So Jeff, I really appreciate you being here today.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Driving out all the way here to Biddle Air National Guard Base in Horsham. And so just, if you don't mind, give us a little background, who you are, what your service was like, where you served in the military, and currently, what you're doing there with Greencastle.
Awesome. I'm originally from Harrisburg. I have two daughters, one whose birthday is actually today.
Oh, wow.
So my youngest is turning 24 today. So I was in 25 years. I did 4 active duty. I was stationed in Gießen, Germany, 2/3 Field Artillery, 1st Armored Brigade. Then I came home, joined the Guard, and sat around the Guard, did a little work around, and then I got approached with an opportunity for AGR. Actually, we'll talk about this more, but one of my mentors, I actually worked for him, and he was like, hey, have you ever thought about AGR? And I'm like, I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, what is that?
So he actually brought me up to speed on what that program was. I applied, and my career went from there. I did the next 15 years AGR, and then just recently retired in 2021 from the Pennsylvania Army National Guard in the AGR program.
So total time was how many?
Total time was 25 years.
25 total years, okay.
Yep, 20 active.
Retired 21, and you transitioned then directly to what role?
What role? I transitioned directly into the recruiting lead of Greencastle.
Oh, nice. Okay.
I went into that. It was brought to me like this. Here's this opportunity. Actually, a good friend of mine actually works for the company. He said, "Hey, come check this out. There may be an opportunity for you. If nothing else, we can at least have the opportunity to catch up because we haven't been in touch for a while." I came down there and I saw that it was like this unicorn place that I didn't really believe was real.
Yeah, right.
And then I went through the process. I ended up there, and now I get to share that opportunity with others and insist them on coming on.
That's fantastic, yeah. And I'm excited to learn more about Greencastle myself.
Okay.
I knew a few folks from the Pennsylvania Guard that worked there over the years, and one of our airmen actually is on staff there now. So it's going to be an interesting thing as we move through the podcast. But you had mentioned that you had a great mentor, and so I want to kind of start here, because this idea of mentorship, it's a hot button word, always kind of sort of has been at some level over the years, especially in the military. But I don't know if we really know how to do mentoring well. We create programs, and from my perspective, a program could be a check-the-block kind of thing that we're just going through the motions. But here at the 111th, and I think in our culture and today's climate, we really need to figure out how to develop a culture of mentorship and make it about our whole lives, right? And so talk to me a little bit about your experience with mentorship. How do you define it, and some characteristics of what a great mentor looks like?
So I think for me, a good mentor is someone that is doing something that you aspire to do, or something that you're interested in doing. I think when you get into making it a statement where you're actually making it complicated, if you overcomplicate it, it just goes haywire, because now you're looking for a definition like, hey, like, Tony, you have a great podcast, right? And I want to do podcasting. So I look to you. I come to you, and how does that work? Now, automatically, you're a mentor. It's not a physical thing. I know you. Yeah. I know you do. You put together great work. I want to do podcasting, so now I come to you. Now that's a mentor. I think where we get caught is trying to make it an actual program instead of just helping people understand what the definition of a mentor is. And I think that's where the roads kind of get crossed.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So
absolutely.
As far as me for good mentorship, I think what I've learned in the characteristics of my mentors is just that they were able to articulate how they got to where they were in a way that I understood. So it was more keen in their leadership role than anything. It was brought in just, I want to be here. Everybody aspires to do something. And then they see somebody actually doing it, but at that point, they don't know whether they can approach that individual. And I think that that's in the characteristic of an individual of being approachable.
Sure.
As your leader should be. And in some cases, it may not even be a leader. It may be someone of lower rank, of lower stature that has that knowledge, and being approachable at any level is crucial to mentorship, both in going to receive it and being able to provide it.
Yeah. I think I like what you said there. I picked up on this, is that there's an attitude about wanting to help. You have to have that kind of attitude. And it's not even just about those that outrank you. They can have a skill set that you don't have.
Right. Exactly.
And so I think the components of mentorship too is you could teach a mentee, for instance, how to go and try to network and seek information from someone. But then there's the other side of that. How do you if you have an expertise in an area, right? How are you honing a craft and being able to, like you said, for your mentors were able to give that information in a clear way, to provide that, to mentor that individual, right? So there's like a two-pronged thing here. You got mentees and mentors, and sometimes mentees don't know how to get the information that they're looking for. They don't know how to approach people, and those that are approached, they don't know how to actually give that good advice or that leadership that they can step-by-step provide to help someone that's being mentored. So, and I think that's where the program in our culture, in our minds, makes sense, because if we programatize it, we could teach, here's how to be a good leader, or here's how to be a good mentor, here's how to be a good mentee. But really, it's just about sharing the knowledge you have, and it's about trying to draw that knowledge out to learn something new, if you will.
Absolutely. And I think after a while, I'm out of the uniform now, so I like to sometimes speak a little more with some freedom. But I think if the more and more things that you programize, I'm not sure if that's a word, but things that you programize, I don't really think that the individual, especially if your target is like your lower enlisted, your more junior service members, I think it just becomes one more program as opposed to something.
Couldn't agree with you more.
Something that really is something that could be beneficial.
Right.
So
exactly.
What you don't want to do is just make it so that it's one more program like that. The last program didn't help.
Sure.
Or I didn't really understand the last program. I think just educating people how to be authentic will draw individuals to you to be able to provide that mentorship that we all need. There was at some point somebody needed to be a mentor to myself, and I needed to be a mentor to somebody. You're always going to be in that role where you're going to be either receiving or giving that mentorship.
Yeah,
so.
I think that's great for all of us. So there's two things we can all take away, and when you think about mentorship, we're all mentors. We are all mentors, and we all need a mentor in some areas of our lives, maybe where we need to hone and focus a little more. And the other point, too, with the programs, here's what kind of, again, I know we're in the military, so we got a mentorship program. The problem with the program is it gets kind of presented in such a way where the mentorship program is focused on your career progression. But there's so much more to who we are as individuals, to your point, is that the holistic nature of who we are. Than just our careers. We have relationships outside here. We have financial issues and challenges we need to learn from. There's a whole plethora of things. Physical, how to be better physically fit, how to eat and have a healthier lifestyle. So there are folks in our ranks that are experts in these areas where we all can learn from each other, right? So the mentorship program tends to focus on, it's usually career-based, right?
Correct.
And that's important. But I think we're doing a disservice if we don't look at it again. That's why I kind of love this podcast and the theme that we've been able to build here. And it's that holistic perspective, mind, body, spirit, and social. And if we could deliver in those areas and teach folks how to become, again, mentors about the experiences that they've been able to, not just experiences, but areas of their lives where they got a good foothold on, and they're able to give that information to somebody else. And where there's an area they're weak in, they can look across the table, they can look up or down the chain, and then receive that information that they need, if you will, to grow in certain areas. So I think that's amazing that we that we were able to kind of unpack that here together today and just some of your experience. So I will ask this, because I think this is important for our listeners to understand too. What kind of resources helped you along the way? I know you talked about individuals, but were there any books or classes or some resources that helped you grow along the way?
I really think that life experiences were a lot of the resources that I use. I really wasn't a big book person, to be completely honest. I like books now, but I'm more into entertainment. I never looked at any self-development books or anything like that, because I feel when I'm working, I like to have that getaway, right? So, but for overall, I just like to interact with people. I used to be a very, very much so an introvert. So what it did was getting me out of that comfort zone and actually learning from people was actually my biggest resource, because it allowed me to build relationships that I may not have built that if I stayed in that quiet place that I had. So the biggest resource for me was actually getting comfortable with being uncomfortable.
I like that.
So that was the biggest thing for me, and it's I've seen the trajectory change in my life in pretty much every facet just by that one change.
Yeah. I think that's something for all of us to embrace, because look, only a certain percentage of us are extroverts that can connect with other people. And then you mentioned it, you being an introvert, and so if you're listening today and you're struggling with this whole thing, like, I don't know how to do this. Well, you got to get uncomfortable. Be comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yep.
Find someone else who's an introvert or an introvert that has been able to figure out how to work out of that shell to connect with other people. Because again, I do agree with you. I think our life experiences, obviously, if you read a book, you're reading about someone's life experience. That's all it really is in so many ways, right?
Yes.
And so some of us are readers, and that's great. Others are readers of people. To your point, that's what you were and have become, as far as learning from and developing and honing those mentorship kind of skills and leadership skills. And so for me, I mentioned this on previous podcasts. One of the best books I ever read on mentorship was from Tony Dungy. He's an NFL analyst now on NBC, and was a coach of the Indianapolis Colts, a Pittsburgh Steeler. I'm a Steeler fan, so I got a lot of connections with Mr. Dungy. He's written some great books, and the one that just really paints the picture of what we're talking about is called The Mentor Leader. And because what Tony did, he took these young NFL athletes coming in the league. A lot of them never. I mean, look, if you or I, if someone gave me a contract tomorrow for $10 million, I'd probably squander a lot of that too, right?
Oh yeah.
He took these men under his wing and taught them how to be men and use the money the right way, and not just how do you come into that? And so he was so intentional about it. So Tony was super intentional, and I read that book numerous times. I've given that book away. That is one. And so if you're listening and you are a reader, I really recommend that book by Tony Dungy, because it's one of the best that I've ever come across on not even just how to be a mentor, but a mentee, and how to find good people that can invest in you as well. So.
Oh yeah, and think that it's a team. We work in the military as a team. We're in the team. Obviously, there's a leader. Obviously, and then there's other players that are on the team that all have an expertise or a purpose on that particular team. And what makes the team stronger is being able to identify who has the strengths in what area, so that the team can succeed. And just being able to step outside and being able to talk to that individual and allow them to help you through, I think that opens the door for anything. And I think probably in that book, and now you're going to have me look up that book.
Yeah,
now
you should. You should.
Even though you're not a reader. I'm not a reader, but I can e-book. I can listen.
There you go. There you go.
Check that book out, because I like to hear stories like that of how leaders take that extra mile to provide some knowledge to someone to help them through.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's kind of sum this up, because I want to get to Greencastle as well.
Okay.
I think it's important for us to talk about, Greencastle, Skillbridge, and all that. But again, mentorship. So some of the key things I heard you say in your experiences, one, you got to get out of your comfort zone. It doesn't matter how you're wired, get out of your comfort zone, seek people out, be willing to, if someone seeks you for information, be willing to invest in them, and make this a lifestyle more than it's a program that I just check a block or, again, there's nothing wrong with programs, but I think a leadership culture, it really does start with each individual owning their piece of realizing they need help in certain areas, seek it out. And we all have skills. We all have abilities and expertises, if we will. And then we should be willing to share that with those that come to us for advice. And then you also mentioned about resourcing, and for you in particular, is every experience in life. I think that's one of the things sometimes we miss as people. All of our experiences help us grow as people. And it's not just the experience wearing the uniform or working at a company, but it's what we do in our community. It's what we do amongst our family members. It's what we do if we're in a religious affiliation or not, right? And collectively, we need to embrace all of that, because that's the authenticity of who we are as individuals, and it builds that holistic perspective.
Absolutely.
So I really appreciate you sharing that. So let's kind of segue now a little bit into your role initially here at Greencastle. Tell me a little bit about Greencastle and what you do for the company. Let's just start there.
So at Greencastle, we are a 100% veteran implementation consulting firm. What we do is we work in we work in 5 different disciplines: project management, change management, process improvement, budget controlling, and we also work in the business intelligence space. A lot of that's really just continuing to serve and providing opportunities to other veterans to come on and continue to serve, to our client base, which basically comes to us to help with either fixing a problem, changing a problem, or just getting stuff done. That's one of our mottos. And that's the intent, is just to continue to serve. We served in the uniform. We're continuing to give that value add to outside clients, showing them basically military folks can actually get stuff done in the civilian realm. A lot of times, what I've learned in this job as the recruiting lead is talking to veterans. My sole job is talking to veterans all day, and what I hear from them and what I get from them is that a lot of organizations want veterans, they just don't understand veterans. So the beauty about Greencastle is we understand veterans because we all either are veterans or are currently still wearing the uniform in a reserve capacity. So
the entire company.
Company.
Wow, that's impressive.
The entire company. So we have that ability to be able to bridge that gap and understand where you're coming from and be able to help you, whether it's with Greencastle or not. We've had people that have come through, and we were able to put them in a situation where they had employment elsewhere. But just having that sense of understanding of what an individual is going through when they're transitioning from the military, or if they've already transitioned and moved on and now they're backtracking, still trying to get traction after leaving the military, we're at least there to have that voice and understand where you're coming from.
And so your clients then, who are your clients?
So we do have some clients. We are mainly in the utility space. So we work a lot with utility companies. We do have some retail assets, some retail clients, and we also have a few government contracts. So we're a little spread out throughout what we do and who we do it for.
That's great, yeah.
Yep.
And so I think one thing that pops to mind here, right? You hire only military. You do obviously the 5. You listed how many were there? There were 5.
5, yes.
5 areas of that you focus on in your consulting kind of work there with the utility companies and some other companies. How often do you get service members struggling trying to translate what they do in the military, right, to the civilian? Yeah, talk about that for a minute.
All of the time. I think the biggest thing is really kind of understanding where that translation is. I know that there's really not a clear path or a clear understanding. And I know when I got out, a lot of things that people wanted to, one of the biggest things that people wanted to do when getting out of the military is consult, which sounds amazing. Mm-hmm. But what does that mean?
Yeah, what the heck does that mean? Yeah. What's that look
sounds
like?
good in concept. So I think what we like to do is bring people in and really actually kind of teach them what a consultant does, where that lies. What does a consultant do? What do they not do? How do your skills translate? Because the biggest thing is we do a lot of the things in the military that come along with consulting. It's just being able to understand, being able to translate these. That the civilian force speaks a whole different language than us. So when I'm talking to people that are coming in transitioning service members, it's like, hey, what is project management?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what is that? Well, it's you get a task or a mission or something in the military, right? You plan it out, you execute it accordingly.
Yeah.
Well, that's project management.
They just don't realize it. They don't realize there's steps that the civilian world has developed into a PMP, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then you get into some of the other things like Lean Six Sigma, process improvement. It's like, okay, so I think every branch has Humvee. They have Humvees, right?
Yeah.
So there's a technical manual to tell you that there's 15 steps to change a Humvee tire, right?
Right.
But you know that there is a safe and more efficient way where you can change that Humvee tire in 4. Well, that's process improvement.
Yeah, yeah.
So now you're talking Lean Six Sigma. So now the biggest thing is learning or finding assets that help you translate your skills. And I think that's the hardest thing to find because there's not a lot of resources that help you with that language transition.
Sure.
Because military folks, I tell transitioning service members all the time, if you've been in the military more than 15, 20 minutes,
mm-hmm.
you've done a lot of this stuff.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
It's
Yeah.
just kind of getting that understanding of how to translate it.
Sure. No, and I appreciate you sharing that and kind of how Greencastle does that. So again, you have folks listening today,
Mm-hmm.
airmen, soldiers, retirees, some are still in. How does someone that might want to learn more about Greencastle or get into Greencastle, what are ways that they could learn more about it, and how do they transition and learn about what's available for them for employment?
Oh, absolutely. What I would recommend is just go to greencastle.com, check out the website. Excellent website, very user-friendly. A lot of the things that we do, there's an event page. We do monthly happy hours, which are just kind of social military. There's not any pressure. You just come out and get to network with military folks, get an idea of us, network with other veterans for other organizations, just the opportunity to be in. There's other events on there that we either sponsor or that we're involved with, golf events, different things that may be client-related and it may not be. There's also a careers tab on there, so if you're interested in careers, you can go through those careers, look at the position descriptions. There's a link on there to contact. So if you ever need to reach out to anyone, and I'll be sure to leave my information here as well. So if anybody's interested, just to kind of get an idea of what we do, a more in-depth conversation of where do I go from here when I'm transitioning, anything like that, they can reach out to me. And once again, tying it back into the mentorship piece is when I came out, it's oddly enough that I work for Greencastle that has a skill bridge program. And when I was coming out, I still didn't know anything about SkillBridge. I learned more about SkillBridge program after already working at Greencastle. So what I like to offer folks is the ability to talk about transition and some of the lessons that I've learned throughout, whether it's about Greencastle or not, just being able to give that information back on what it's like to transition, some of the bumps and bruises that I went through, and how I can pass that on so the next service member doesn't have to go through that.
That's fantastic. Yeah, so greencastle.com, correct?
Yes.
Greencastle.com. And let's transition to SkillBridge for a second here, because I know people listening are probably like, what was that again?
What is that?
Because again, you'll hire retirees, right?
Correct.
You'll hire Guard and Reserve that are currently serving, right? And then you got this SkillBridge connection to Greencastle. So kind of break down what the heck is SkillBridge and who can tap into that.
So SkillBridge is actually an internship style program.
Okay.
That DoD authorized for active duty service members that are transitioning, where they can go into a program anywhere from 30 to 180 days prior to their transition leave. And that program is governed by DoD. Obviously, each branch has their own way that they can administer that program. And what it's targeting is helping people find a way to transition.
Okay.
One thing that is key to know is that not only is this a Title 10 active duty program, this is a program that's available to all Title 10 and Title 32 AGR.
Nice.
So a lot of times that piece gets missed.
Yeah.
Where that you're also authorized, if you fall into one of those categories, you're also authorized to participate in this program.
Sure.
What we do in Greencastle is, with our program, is we come in and help you. As what I talked about earlier was helping people translate between understanding what they do in the military and how they translate it to a civilian force. What our program highlights is helping, well, what it does is assist you in that translation. What we do is we bring you in, we teach you a one-on-one course that explains exactly what consulting does. We provide you with the 35-hour PMP prep course and put you in the study group to get you your PMP.
Okay.
We work to get you a certified change practitioner certification, so you learn change management and get to be able to align what you did in the military and make you an efficient corporate recognized change manager. Same with Lean Six Sigma Green Belt. We also do professional Scrum Master, so we provide you all the education and all the education, the certification, and the tools to become a successful consultant, whether with us or if you decide to move into a different direction. You'll at least be able to get that transition, to understand what a consultant is, the certifications to align with your military experience, to make you effective in moving forward.
That's fantastic. So that's skill bridge then for Title 10, Title 32, AGR, and again, I think that's missed. I know here in Pennsylvania Guard, it has been. As we were talking before the podcast, there's only been the last year and a half here that folks have actually went through the Skill Bridge program. And so this will open up new potential opportunities for folks that are transitioning out from the AGR component as well. And so you mentioned, Skill Bridge, how does someone learn more about that? Is there some link on your site, or is there an area they can learn more? So someone that's interested right now, for instance, they want to do the Skill Bridge and connect with Greencastle. How does that actually work?
Same spot. If you go to the website, go on to careers, you'll look for the veteran tab and you'll see the DoD Skill Bridge, and it actually gives you position description, so it actually is able to lay out exactly what the program is, the certifications, and contact information if you just want to do that. There's also, we have our strongholdleadership.net, which actually is focused specifically on that program and the education opportunities at Greencastle. Okay. So that's a separate website as well. So if you're interested in that, it's strongholdleadership.net.
Nice. Very good. Very good. And again, greencastle.com is the place to go.
Correct.
Learn more about all these things. And I'll tell you, I think I'm hopeful that you'll come back again and we can hit another topic, another angle, and we kind of keep this going, because I think the wider the net can be cast to help our airmen, soldiers, again, those that are listening to our podcast, just have access to good fresh content, good information about again how to be whole in life. Those 4 areas: career, in particular, transition, because that's a big thing that every single one of us is going to encounter. Everybody that works at Greencastle has been there or is going to be there one day.
Correct.
As they leave the military, right?
Correct.
So the more we can, again, understand this mentor process too, as that relates to that career transition to a company like Greencastle, I think we're just better off as people to be able to share that information and again, get it out to as many people as we can. So, as we close today, Jeff, I want to say I really appreciate you taking your time coming out here today and sitting down. And I know this is going to help some folks out for sure. It's going to reach people that we don't even know because of the platforms that we're on. And I'm really grateful that, your company let you come here today and do this, and you're willing to take your time. So, again, just thanks a lot. Any final parting words that you'd like to say to the audience today?
I'd like to say one thing personally is what helped me, as in what I expressed earlier, is be comfortable, get comfortable with being uncomfortable. It will really help you through any facet of your life. Just get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's huge. It is huge. And look, that's a great mentor opportunity for everybody that's listening here today. There's something in your life right now that you want to do or you thought about doing, and you're just sitting there not doing anything about it. Today's your day.
Today's your day.
Today's your day, right?
Today is the day.
Take that step today. and become uncomfortable so that you can be successful and learn. We grow by getting skinned up a little bit, right? We do. That the pressure that comes on us at times actually produces something beautiful. And so, Jeff, again, appreciate all the knowledge that you brought to us today. Thanks for your service to our nation, to Pennsylvania National Guard, and we look forward to having you come back in again.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah. So, hey, listen, again, Balance Podcast, keep tuning in. We're going to continue to develop and bring in some fresh content for you. We want to make sure that you're not only successful in your career and at work and what you do in the military, but we want to make sure you're successful in every area of life. So, hey, this is Chaplain Tony Repic again out of Biddle Air National Guard Base. Thanks for tuning in, and we're out. Hey, this is Chaplain Tony Repic here. Just want to remind you that this podcast does not imply any endorsement of any commercial organization, product, or belief system.